Good evening, Fiends. Are you ready? Let's get spooky.
Hello, Fiends, and welcome back to another episode of
Let's Get Spooky.
I'm Vamp.
I'm AJ.
You laugh every time.
Well,
Take us
I
seriously.
had my hand in front of my face when he started, and I was like, oh, we're starting, so this is it. This is the beginning of our show.
I mean, we could do
Hi,
it again.
y'all.
Do you want to do it again?
This is it. This is it. Hi.
We've come too far.
We've gone too far. We can't restart. We're running out of film. We got to keep going.
So, on today's episode, we are talking, well, our title is
It's in the food, which can be interpreted as a few things, and we will be talking about poisonings. If you are vulnerable to throwing up, if you hear about other people talking about throwing up, you might want to skip some parts of this episode.
Yeah, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of bodily fluids and gross things happening. Barforama.
But yeah.
Movies. So
movies.
We have some movies to chat about that are related. Yours I feel like are really related to the topic. Mine are a little loosely related, but you know,
got to connect
it works.
The dots a little bit more.
It'll work.
Straight up. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, the ones that matter. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if you know me, you know I am completely obsessed with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. No secret, it's the meat. Don't skip on the meat. Don't skimp on the meat.
I have Lost Boys, 1987, and I feel like the scene in this movie where Michael's eating his noodles and rice, and he thinks he's eating worms and maggots.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it for sure scarred me. Anytime eating Chinese food after that, because in the back of your mind, you're like, but could they have slipped in some worms in here and just like for shits and giggles? And then I remember one time I had never seen maggots like actually in real life, and I remember going to throw something out in the garbage when I was little and opening it up, and it was like after trash day, so you could see to the bottom, and there was maggots in there, and it was so disgusting. Like they weren't even anywhere near me. They were all the way at the bottom, but I was so grossed out. I feel like I don't even think I threw the trash in there. I think it just dropped it and was like, nope, not today. And I walked inside. And I was like, why are there
not today maggots?
Why are there maggots in our trash? But it was like, I mean,
it happens.
It's kind of
part of life.
Yeah, maggots are disgusting. So yeah, I was definitely scarred by the worms and maggots.
Yeah, that's gross. Another one of my favorite movies, The Stuff, which came out in 1985. I was showing you trailers.
We legit were just watching.
The fake trailer that's in it. You can never get enough of The Stuff. I have a little bit of The Stuff right here. It hasn't moved yet, so I think we're good. But I don't want to give too much away from this movie because I feel like this is one of the ones that like not too many people have seen. So I would please go watch it. It is very good. Apparently, it's just fully up on YouTube because I thought we were watching just a scene.
She's like, I'm going to show you the trailer.
I just want to show you the trailer. And they just kept going. And I'm like, this is the movie.
We did a quick fast forward.
I was like, wait, this is I showed her just like the highlights. I'm like, I'll make my own trailer for this.
Oh, it's like one of those things. There's parts of it where you're like, it's gross, but you can't look away kind of thing. So highly recommend.
Yeah, cool. Basically, like a Cool Whip substance. Is very lethal, and you should not eat it. But it's very popular, and everyone wants to. And it's the hot
cool
thing.
Kids are doing it.
So
jump on the bandwagon. My next one, I guess the last one that we'll talk about is Human Centipede, which is not necessarily like it's in the food-related movie. It's just really gross because three people are basically sewn together, ass to mouth. Yeah. So one person,
the one in the front,
they get to enjoy the meal and like, wow, that food was really delicious.
You feel guilty. You probably feel the guilt.
Number one feels guilty?
I would. Because the one, number two.
You say guilt, I say lucky.
I mean, yeah, lucky. There's a mix. You're lucky, but you also feel guilty because you're not the one with someone's beehole up to your mouth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are the one delivering that to somebody else.
I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't feel guilty. I would just be
There's two types of people in this world. Those who feel guilty delivering
those who feel lucky.
And those who feel lucky.
But also like super disgusting. And I feel I was saying earlier, I was like, I feel like that movie is so underrated. Like you don't hear anyone talk about it. Also because it's like traumatizing and disgusting.
Yeah, it was like one of those ones that it hit and it was like the thing that everyone was talking about. And then all of a sudden, like I just feel like it just kind of like the conversation around it just died, and it
got
was
banned in some places, and people were like, "Oh, this is too much."
I feel like when there's bannings, that's when people are like, "No, we have to see it."
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen it in so long that maybe I need to revisit it, and maybe there's a reason it didn't go as far as in my mind. I was like,
okay,
"That was
I changed
great."
my mind on this one.
Maybe because everyone was barfarama, they're like the whole time, they couldn't take it anymore. So we have a couple different avenues that this episode going. I have some food poisoning stories to start off with because, you know, everyone loves a good food poisoning story. Have you ever been had food poisoning? Been food poisoned?
Food poisoned. Not on purpose, I don't think. I'm trying.
Like, does anyone food poisoned on purpose?
If you are, you probably didn't. Yeah, one of my stories on purpose.
Have you ever had something that caused food poisoning?
Not really. There was one time that I had, because I like, you know, like if you like, you know, you have like something, and if it's like bad version of it or something like that, then like that's what you like, your memory like is thinking of that thing, but it remembers that awful taste and you can't really have it for a while.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time in high school. This is like when I was able to drive, and I was driving to school. And I was leaving school and I was getting to my car, and I'm like, I'm really thirsty. And there was a cup in my car, and we're in Southern California, so it's very hot, very hot in the car. So I went and I picked up the thing, and I'm like, it's probably fine. It was like
was it?
Orange juice that was hot, and it was gross. And it was one of those things that like I had it, and I was just like immediately felt it come right back up, and I'm like, do I, you know,
what do I do with this orange juice?
I'm sitting in my own car. I can't just like,
spit it back in the cup. Or was it like a straw?
No, it was in something that I couldn't
like a sippy cup, so you couldn't just like
bleh. So there was like a period of time after where I couldn't really have orange juice because my brain would, like, if I thought of orange juice, I would remember that awful taste. And it kind of ruined it for me for a while, but I'm back. We're good.
You're okay. You can have
orange juice. Yeah, I'm back on drinking terms with orange juice. But I don't know, not really. Like, you know, there's like foods that you have and you don't really, your stomach doesn't really like agree with. But I haven't really like had a bad food poisoning kind of story.
I had one. It was actually right after filming an episode of Let's Get Spooky way back in the day. We made guacamole. I feel like I've talked about this, but I don't know. I feel like Cameron's like, you've definitely talked about it. So we made guacamole, and it was fine. It was delicious guacamole. And then we filmed. And so it was probably like, say from the guacamole ingesting it to feeling that I was sick was probably like 2, maybe 3 hours. And I had never had, I've had things that like made my stomach upset, but I've never had food poisoning. And it was like my body went from 0 to get this out of me like fast. And we were driving somewhere, and I remember telling Cameron, I was like, I don't feel so good. And I was like, no, but like we need to pull over like right now.
Yeah.
And we were on the freeway. I barely made it. We like stopped at some random hotel, and it's TMI if I explain everything that happened, but basically it ejected from my body in various ways all at once. And it was traumatic. Like, I just don't understand how it can happen.
Fire hose style?
Yes, like projectile. And I just don't understand how that could happen so fast. And so then afterwards, I'm like, well, let me look up it, because it was avocados, if there's a problem with avocados. And there had been a listeria outbreak. Henry's Avocado Corporation that delivered to Arizona, California, and the Ralph's grocery store that we got it from was on the list. Florida, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. So it says, it said that in the article that I read just last night that no illnesses had been reported. But to be fair, I didn't report mine because it got out of my system.
There's none reported. It doesn't mean that nobody happened.
Got sick.
Yeah.
So because I didn't go to the hospital, then technically it wasn't reported because I didn't call like 1-800 I have food poisoning and say, hey, those avocados effed me up. But it was awful. And I love avocados, and I for sure thought that after this, I'm not going to be able to touch them. But it was like a couple days later, I was like, I love you too much. I can't put you down. And it was fine. And what I learned is most people don't wash their avocados because it's not, you're not eating
That's true. Yeah, because you're not
outside.
eating the skin, the things that people are touching.
So most of the things on my list are going to be like viruses and things that are on your foods. And the number one way to avoid it, wash it.
All you have to, an extra step.
I know. And a lot of the times they say it's pre-washed broccoli, pre-washed lettuce, pre-wash anything.
That's not true.
I don't give a fuck if
That's
they say
a
it's
selling
pre-washed.
point.
Wash it. There was a video that I saw and it was like, look at this pre-washed broccoli. And then the guy proceeds to peel apart the broccoli and there's these little things and they're called broccoli spiders.
It's
and
called protein, extra protein. I'm sorry.
Which is fine if it doesn't contain some sort of disgusting virus that's going to make you projectile vomit. So
it's
if you
just
wanna,
toughening you up.
I mean, you want to shit and vomit all over the place? I don't think so. Wash it.
Fine. Fine.
So I have another one, and this actually happened after we filmed at the Ghostly Retreat. We filmed our vet with the vet of Backstage Bruja, and we're like, let's reward ourselves and go to the Knott's Chicken Dinner restaurant because the Ghostly Retreat's close to Knott's.
Yeah.
So we go there.
We raced there, by the way.
We raced there because they're about to close.
We raced there. Cameron was doing 100.
He's like, I will get my
Fast
chicken.
and Furious. Call up Cam.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters.
He'll do all the stunts for you.
So we got there. Everyone enjoyed their dinner. It was fine. Everything seemed fine. And then
I got a text message from you after going.
I was like, are you feeling
okay? Are you okay?
Everyone was fine.
Yeah.
So I got something. It wasn't as bad as the avocados
incident
of 2019 or whatever year that was. But it was like, I was trying to go to bed. I started feeling like a little nauseous and I'm like, oh man. And then I'm asking everyone's fine. And I'm like, of course I would get the whatever bad thing.
Yeah.
But I just broke out in like sweats. Like I was just sweating. I felt super nauseous and I felt like I was going to throw up, but I never got to that point. So whatever it was definitely wasn't bad.
Something
enough.
happened.
Cameron says from the salad, but I feel like other,
Where you get shit from.
yeah,
Really?
because a lot of people don't wash it.
Yeah.
But everyone else, I think, had salad. But
I had salad. I was fine.
maybe I just had a.
But
One bad piece.
He says one bad lettuce
piece.
leaf.
There's also like, I know for a while, like people are like, don't get lemons from like restaurants because
they don't wash them.
They don't wash them and they use the knife that they use for other things to cut
Yeah.
the lemons, and it's a little questionable.
But listen, I still love Knott's Chicken Dinner Restaurant. We went there last weekend.
we went there last weekend. It's great.
And I was like,
She
give me
felt
food
fine.
poisoning. I don't even care.
It's worth
I want that
it.
chicken. So those are my only two that like something was legitimately wrong with the food and it made me sick. I have those stories of when I was little, like you had the flu and you ate something and it made you sick and you're like, I can't have that. I have an orange juice story, but it was being stupid and getting drunk. So we're not going to go down.
You.
That
That's
was
your
my problem. But you have a story that is pretty tragic.
Mine are, like the stuff I'm going to be talking about are poisonings on purpose. Of course, like looking into this, I found on Mother Jones' website.
Sorry, I'm fixing one here. It's fine. You're better now.
Okay.
Go. Continue.
Mother Jones' website, they had a blog post that was a poison aficionado's guide to 6 killer chemicals. And I'm like, ooh, what's this?
Poison aficionado. That sounds fancy.
Like, that's a pretty good job title.
Yeah.
Number 1 is lead. Heavy metal. Back in the day, they used it in a lot of stuff.
Lead pencils, paint,
pencils, like literally, like they just guess they didn't realize how bad it was. So like there are like certain homes and stuff that still have lead pipes, paint, lots of stuff like that. It was saying mostly it's dangerous to children because it acts as a neurotoxin, so it'll stunt brain development.
But even being around it or ingesting it?
Both.
Okay.
But ingesting it 100%. So yeah, it's one thing you definitely want to be around. Arsenic. It's another naturally occurring heavy metal. It's bad in high doses and it's bad in low doses. So
it's in apples. Isn't arsenic in apple seeds?
It's the apple seeds. So? If you have too much of it, because there was a while where Matt and I were like, "Oh, great! Now I'm going to say this. No one write this. No one steal this idea from me." A Johnny Appleseed horror movie where he's
or cyanide.
Or is it cyanide? No, I think it might be cyanide. One of them. It's some type of poison. But basically, we're like, oh, the reason why he went around planting all those apple trees was because he was killing people with the seeds. No one take that idea. This is my idea.
It's on the internet now. They can't do it.
Carbon monoxide, colorless, odorless. It can kill very quickly. Definitely something that you don't want to be exposed to.
But now they have fire alarms and monoxide, carbon monoxide detectors.
Very important. It's definitely one of those things where if it's happening, you might not even know. Like
most people just fall asleep.
Yeah, they just kind of fall asleep and you don't really wake up. Please check your household appliances.
And I feel like those are uneasy. You can get those on Amazon or in the stores for $10.
Just remember to change the batteries. Don't be like some people and let it beep all the time.
Or take it down.
Change the batteries. Yeah, it's a good thing. Ethylene glycol, aka antifreeze, #1 homicidal poison in the USA. This one is always one of those ones because it's like people are like it has a sweet taste. Like the chemicals in it give it like a sweet taste.
Oh, so you can poison someone, they won't notice.
You could easily put it in someone's drink and they probably wouldn't know, especially if you put in something sweet. But I think they recently changed it to where it doesn't have that sweet taste anymore, so it's a little bit more in your face about it. Ricin, which is a white granular substance, it's found in castor beans. So the process of making castor oil, the remnants of the castor beans you can make into this poison, which could either be a powder or a mist. This is like one of the ones that like people would put in the mail. So when you open it up, it kind of
there's like so many like murder mysteries where they use it.
Yeah. This last one, polonium-210. It's the high-tech poisoning. Apparently, you need a nuclear reactor to make it in deadly amounts. So
don't worry about this one.
You probably don't really have to worry about this one. But it still somehow made the list.
Like in some place, it's probably easily accessible.
Yeah.
Here, probably not.
Yeah. So then my brain was very much on this track of like, poisoning on purpose. And I remembered this one story that I heard about because it's crazy and it's close. Irvine.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty close to here. A woman was charged with poisoning her husband. So Jack Chen believed his wife was poisoning him.
Is this recent-ish?
Yes. Yeah, it was pretty recent. I forgot to write down the dates, but it is very recent. I don't even think there has been like a conclusion to it. Yeah.
So then very recent, within the last couple of years. Okay.
Yeah. So he wasn't feeling good. He started getting stomach ulcers and he had a swollen esophagus and he started noticing a chemically taste because every morning he would have a hot lemonade. So he kind of started noticing like
that sounds gross, first of all.
So I probably would do the same. He installed hidden cameras because
I was like, you probably poisoned someone. Watch out.
Yeah, he returned it. No, he was paranoid, so he installed hidden cameras in his home, and he caught his wife, Emily Yu, looking like she is putting some type of Drano, because it looks like a orange tub.
Looked like the red-handled Drano container, yeah.
And this is like one reason why it kind of stuck with me, because there's photo evidence.
Yeah.
Like it literally shows her, she's holding the Drano bottle over a tiny little cup. There's that one. And here's another one. She's doing it like at the sink and she's like, preparing his
she's not even smart. She's not even trying to like put the cup in the sink so you don't see where she's pouring it.
It's kind of like out in the open.
I mean, I don't condone poisoning anyone, but if you're going to do it, don't be a dummy.
Smart.
Yeah.
So there was 3 separate days where he caught her on camera looking like she's pouring this substance into his lemonade. And it's one of those. So then, and I'm like, this is wild. So then I start reading more into it, and then it turns into like there's this like this thing where the her attorney is now saying, no, he's only saying this, and like saying misconstruing the images to make it seem like it's happening, but no, she was just putting the Drano in the cup to then put it down the sink, and she would never do that, and he's only doing this because he wants to make divorce proceedings easier, and he wants to get custody of the kids. Right. But then he's like, hey, yo, I have these stomach ulcers, and
he's like, I have no more esophagus.
Like, my esophagus is swollen. Like, I don't think so. There's some great attorney quotes of Mr. Chen's claims that my client has tried to poison him for months are flat out not true.
Let me show you Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, look at this photo. On top of that, it's hard to imagine anyone believing that Dr. Chen could start drinking Drano nearly 6 months ago and not figure out he was ingesting a caustic chemical until last week. So then that also got me thinking, what does happen when you drink Drano? Like,
well, 6 months seems like a long time. Like, did she start off with like a little bit, and then it was like it wasn't working?
Diluted, and maybe she kind of started doing more.
Yeah, and then he started tasting it because she's like, "You're not dying fast enough," or whatever.
This isn't having the effect I want.
Yeah.
So then I looked into what happens when you drink Drano. So when you drink Drano, it burns the lining of your mouth, your esophagus, and your stomach. Once it kind of hits your stomach acids, it neutralizes it a little bit. So like, I think from there down, it's not as big of an issue because it's been neutralized. Yeah. It's on the way down. The main ingredient is sodium hydroxide, which is like a caustic soda or a lye. So it's highly corrosive. So like as it's going down your esophagus, it is burning
away
everything it's touching. It's awful.
And I'm sure very painful, but that's drinking it straight. Also, how did they find this evidence? Did someone was like, yes, I drank Drano. This is what happened.
Yeah. I was like, then I'm like, okay, well, who has drunk Drano? Lots of children.
Oh, okay.
I did see a news story where a guy who drank Drano as a kid, he's like, he's still alive, but he doesn't have his esophagus. He eats through a feeding tube because they said basically the chances of being able to eat normal again is very slim because your esophagus just gets disintegrated and you don't have any way of having the food go down.
And did you do it for fun or for like on purpose?
No, I think it's very much an accident.
Oh, got it. He got into it.
Yeah, getting into it.
Yeah.
This one, take it with a grain of salt because I found it on Reddit. But basically the Reddit post said, I drank Drano when I was 5. I have no esophagus and eat by tube. I am 22 years old. Ask me anything. So I'm like, this is crazy. Is this real?
Yeah.
A few of the other posts that people were asking him questions, someone asked like how it tasted. And his response was, I don't remember the taste, but Drano smells horrible. I was more focused on what the hell was happening to me. Imagine the intensity fizz of Sprite times 10. My parents were gone at the movies. My dad's sister found me running out of the bathroom, screaming, throwing up blood. Ambulance fire department came out and hosed my mouth in the front lawn. And then they had a 16-hour surgery, like removing the esophagus, followed by an 8-month coma. So, definitely do not recommend. Another thing he said, because someone was like, how does this happen? Like, how do you drink Drano? He said his dad put the Drano in a Dasani bottle because it was easier to then put it down the drain because you can, the tip of the Dasani bottle can stick into the drain. So it was just sitting in the bathroom.
It usually has, Drano has the safety thing where you have to push down. So a 5-year-old most likely wouldn't be able to open it.
But he was able to open that Dasani bottle, unfortunately. And
poor baby.
Now he doesn't have an esophagus. So it's 0 out of 10 would not recommend drinking Drano.
No.
I know.
Or any other household cleaning.
Yeah, anything that you shouldn't be drinking.
Pods, don't.
I know. If there's a challenge about it on social media, just ignore it. It's not worth it. Like,
do not do it.
And even like, I know some people drink Drano on purpose to end things, but it's like, the way that this sounds,
it's not going to do that.
Worse than anything you're dealing with in life. So please, please, please don't
do that.
It does not sound.
Listen to the little boy, whether it's a real or fake story.
Yeah, not sure. Again, it's on Reddit.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt, but
we know from the man that his wife was doing it in probably smaller doses rather than him drinking
it. If it being diluted, I
Yeah.
feel like it wouldn't do as much damage on the way down.
And drinking it in like a lemonade, you're already drinking something that's acidic. So it would be probably in her mind easier to hide it. But then if she was doing more and more, is probably when he started tasting it.
And probably started tasting it. And like that's when like the stomach issues started.
So I wonder
happening.
what the like what happens to her, because is it she was trying to do something. Is it
I don't
like
know what her end game was.
Attempted manslaughter because he's still alive? Like what is the punishment for that? Because she didn't kill him.
She didn't succeed as if she was trying to.
I guess we'll have to
we'll have to keep up to it.
Yeah,
because everything that I had seen, all the news reports that I saw were more like, well, we'll see what happens.
Guilty.
Look at the photos.
Yeah. We can't refute the photos.
What do you think is happening?
I mean, technically, like, that's really shitty sometimes how the justice system works, because just by having a still of her, like, if it was video of her pouring it into something and the cup is the same color that she gives to him, then you can't, like, obviously that's what it is. But if it's like she pours it in and then it's in a different cup, like, they could still argue, well, no, that's not what was in the cup. How can you prove it?
And it said, like, basically, like, every morning he had, like, this routine. Like, she would prepare his...
Like someone's coffee, morning coffee.
And she would put a piece of plastic, like, you know, not plastic, but, like, cling wrap or something, you know, to keep it warm. And you can... And I don't know, maybe they only release the photos because they don't want to release the video and have that be, like, the evidence not be able to usable in court. I don't know.
Right.
But at least from the photos, like, what are you doing with the Drano that often?
Yeah.
Also, next to the cup that your husband then drinks from.
Is your drain actually clogged?
If she has hair like mine, her drain is always
but not
clogged.
The kitchen sink. You have
That's
you
true.
have a garbage disposal.
That's true.
You know, she's guilty. Listen, I'm no judge, but I'm also not an idiot. So don't drink Drano, kids, and
Please
also don't poison people. It's not nice.
Don't poison people. It's not cool.
So my list is inspired by a show I know I've talked about many times before, Monsters Inside Me, which was canceled in 2017. Very tragic because I love this show. And this is a show that basically discovers things that happen to people, and then they're traced back to some sort of virus, parasite that they've either gotten by, like, when they're on a trip, ingesting something. So I looked up common parasites that we encounter or can encounter very easily in your home. Top one is E. coli, which is generally found in, and this really hits close to home because we both love sushi.
Yep.
When we go out and we have a steak, we like it to be very, not like, I wouldn't say rare. Well, yeah.
There's been times, like, if you go to, like, what are the, like, you know, where they cook it right in front of you. And I remember,
like a hibachi kind of situation.
I was like,
we did it in Orlando. Remember, we're like, not too much.
It's not too much. But this time, I literally was like, I don't want it cooked very much. And he literally did it for a second, and then gave it to me. And I was like,
let me tell you what could happen to you.
Oh.
So E. coli is generally found in undercooked beef. So just be prepared after I tell you all these things. You're like, well, shit. I'm going to have to reevaluate some things.
Yeah.
Do I want to shit my brains out, or do I want to enjoy this beef? And it... Same with most of these things, either wash it, or if it's something like that in meat, you just have to cook it more. Yeah. So it's saying that you can prevent it by cooking your food thoroughly at a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So meaning don't have it super well done, or
don't have them cook it for a second and then eat it.
No, rare is, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get E. coli from eating rare meat. It's just the chances are higher.
Yeah, it depends on, like, what type of grade meat it is and stuff like that. There's how it, like, you know, how old it is.
Yeah.
You know, if it's been sitting, what conditions it was being kept in. There's a lot of factors into this.
Not a lot of people die from E. coli. If you catch it soon enough, you can go to the hospital. They can give you fluids, but there's no actual medication or treatment for it. So in extreme cases, it can cause death. But for most people, it just makes you sick. You'll throw up, like flu-like symptoms, essentially. But it's
more of like a die of dehydration because you are throwing up and crapping yourself so much type situation.
You know, fun stuff. So that is probably one of the more common ones. These next ones, I can't say any of the names too. I was like, as I started this list, I'm like, now I'm just gonna look like an idiot, but we're gonna try anyway. This is called Christ on a cracker. I don't even know. I'm not gonna try it. Cryptopordium.
Cryptopordium.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So this is a parasite. It's found in fresh wow.
Purdue.
Really threw me off. It's found in fresh produce, milk, and fresh juice, and it's a parasite, so it'll upset the stomach. You'll have fever, cramps, watery diarrhea, and symptoms usually appear 2 to 10 days after ingesting it. So it's not one of those where you eat something bad and you feel bad instantly. It could take almost 2 weeks for this to affect you.
Which I feel like would be so hard to pinpoint because it's like 2 to 7 days. Like, okay, well, what was I eating 2 to 7 days ago?
Right.
Lots of stuff. How am I supposed to be able to it was this?
Most of the time people don't know unless they go to the hospital where they can test for the parasite. They'll just say, hey, I had food poisoning.
Yeah.
But most of these, later on I'll have some statistics, and most of those are only from people that got sick to the point where they had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, and that's
recorded.
another, that's what's so hard about this stuff because, I mean, I know if I'm just kind of throwing up, I'm like, well, I'll just stay home and I'll deal with it in my own, and don't look at me. I'm in, I'll hide away.
Yeah,
from
you're not
going to
be like, we're not hypochondriacs.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes I can be, but for the most part, I'm like, I'm fine, I'll live.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of this stuff, just is underreported because of that.
And the ones that I'm talking about are mostly with food, obviously, because that's our topic, but most of these are easily recoverable. You're just going to be sick while it works itself through your system. The show Monsters Inside Me is if you haven't watched it, I would suggest going back. You're not going to want to ever go outside or eat anything or do anything or travel anywhere or swim in any open body of water. But you'll know all the tragic things that can happen to you. So most of the stories...
At least you know ahead of time what's going to happen.
What could happen. Most of the Monsters Inside Me stories are very extreme situations where they got this very rare parasite or very rare virus and they track it back to, usually it's a waterborne thing or food.
Yeah.
And they're usually happening internationally. Most of the things that are super crazy and wild is someone went on a trip to Indonesia or they were trying some undercooked whatever. These ones are pretty tame and most likely you're going to survive. So the next one is fish flukes or flatworms. It's the same thing. They just have 2 different names. And the worms are basically killed during the cooking process. So if you're eating cooked things, you're going to be fine. But it's commonly found in raw fish. So a lot of sushi, a lot of undercooked fish, but mostly sushi because I feel like that's the only time most people are eating raw.
Yeah, and all these things this just kind of solidifies. Whenever I go to a new sushi place, I always look it up because I'm not going to just gas station sushi. Do not.
Yeah, but gas station sushi I don't feel is usually real fish. It's the fake crab meat.
I don't trust it. I'm not doing
Sorry,
it.
7-Eleven.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. I feel like sushi and stuff, especially for eating the raw stuff, is something that you should definitely look into the restaurant before you go and eat there. Don't just kind of be
check the Yelp reviews.
Yeah, check the Yelp reviews. People are very honest on Yelp.
Yeah, I got food poisoning. Probably don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 1 or 2 sushi places that we're we always go there, and
yeah, there's the one that I've been going to since I was a child and I've never gotten sick from there. So
this next one I'm gonna do last because it's so I feel like I put it in the wrong place in the list. Tapeworms. So tapeworms, there's a lot of worms coming up.
Yeah.
Tapeworms affect the humans from eating undercooked animal products, particularly beef and pork. The crazy thing with tapeworms though is you can have a tapeworm and have no idea. People live with tapeworms for years. There's people that have lived with them for decades. And if you've ever seen or watched any videos of people that I guess finally realize that they have the tapeworm and it gets removed, and tapeworms grow while they're in the body. And I've seen some where they remove them and you're like, how was that in there? I feel like at that point when it's like feet long, like it had to have rearranged something in your insides to make room. So most people will notice them by like losing weight, because essentially everything you're eating, the tapeworm is also eating.
So it's like you're sharing your food with someone, so you're not getting the like nutrients and stuff. That's another thing, like, you know, because
sorry, I'm like making faces as you're talking because I'm looking.
It's gross. I like, yeah. And then also like it gets really bad because sometimes they're like, well, I'm not happy where I am now. So they like kind of chew through,
an important part of you,
and
or they're not getting
other
enough
places.
Food.
Yeah. Ew. They travel sometimes and that's not good.
So it says an existing infection of a pork tapeworm can be made worse by itching or poor hygiene. And it's basically, so this kind of transitions into pinworms, which is a similar kind of thing, but the way that this basically moves and can be spread, because most of these things like E. coli, if I get E. coli from a food, I can't give that to you. Like you would have had to eat in the same thing that I've eaten. So a lot of these viruses, or like types of things, once you have it, it's in you.
Yeah.
But pinworms, can essentially, oh, sorry, it's so gross. So pinworms usually only affect children, and
take that, children.
Anyone can be at risk, and they basically make their way into the food through poor hygiene, so not washing your hands. So also another thing that can prevent these, washing the foods, but also good hygiene, washing your hands.
20 seconds. It's not that long.
So the most common symptom of a pinworm is itching around the anus. A symptom that can lead to greater infestation as children scratch the affected area and transport the worms and eggs back to the mouth and face. And you know, then they have their little grabby hands, and then they touch you, and then their butt worm eggs go to you.
Their anus residue, they come up to you. I see so many kids just like grabbing their parents' mouths. So that's like
after
anus straight to mouth.
I mean, you would hope that they're not like reaching in their pants to scratch.
No, I've seen children in public and they're just going to town.
I'm
and
sweaty right now. We haven't even had any undercooked meat, and there's no children around, and I'm still grossed out. So it's mostly harmless and can be generally treated with medication. It doesn't sound mostly harmless to me. It sounds awful.
Your scale is off. I'm sorry.
This internet article, sorry, just threw it on the floor. You are bullshit.
So mad.
So don't eat anything that's not cooked.
Wash your hands.
Wash your fruit. Wash your hands.
Anus,
don't touch children. Don't have children around you. Yeah. And you won't get any of these parasites or worms or butt eggs or anything. So I have some statistics. And again, I feel like we're in 2023. You would think that we've come to a time where like E. coli, salmonella, things like that we've heard so much about, but it's like you don't really hear them being that much of an issue. It's like if there's an outbreak,
there's outbreaks, and then like, yeah, because I feel like there was one recently, because there was a lot that, like, you know, you'd go places and they go, we don't have lettuce.
We had to get rid of all of it.
Yeah, because of all of that to get rid of.
So salmonella, I have some statistics from 2009 all the way to 2015, and it's like random things. Like, I don't know what PCA stands for, but it was PCA peanut butter, and it made 714 people ill. It killed 9 people. But that doesn't mean that it only made that many people ill. These are just the reported amounts.
What's in peanut butter that
I don't know
makes you?
I mean, something was contaminated and it got.
Someone probably touched their anus and then touched the peanuts
asshole and then put their finger in the peanuts. Cargill ground turkey. So Cargill, I guess this is the brand, but I understand meats because meats make sense. You usually buy them and they're not cooked.
Yeah.
So that made 136 people ill. This was in 2011. Foster Farms chicken. I feel like chicken is a common thing with salmonella, but this didn't kill anyone. It just made a lot of people sick. And then Mexican cucumbers in 2015.
Cucumbers.
I love cucumbers. But then this is a thing. I don't know if it was just because people didn't wash them.
One death.
One person died and almost 1,000 people were.
Death by cucumber.
Yeah. That's salmonella. E. coli. Taco Bell was on the list in 2016.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box, Chipotle, and
oh yeah, I had someone I know. I won't put you on blast, but they would go to this one Chipotle and they weren't cooking the meat enough, and she literally got sick multiple times. Ugh. And I'm like, girl, go to a different Chipotle.
This one just says Chipotle Mexican Grill fast food, so I don't know. It didn't say specifically what it was. Didn't kill anyone, but Jack in the Box hamburgers killed 4 people in 1993 from E. coli.
That's why I get the spicy chicken sandwich there. It's very good.
Doesn't have E. coli, hopefully. Listeria.
Not yet. Let's just wait.
So listeria is what I got from the frickin' avocados. This one is pretty gnarly. In 2011, I guess cantaloupes were contaminated, and it killed 33 people.
Oh my God, ban all cantaloupes.
I love
33 people.
A good cantaloupe is delicious. I don't know if it's worth.
It's
banning.
hard to find a good one, so
but
I just
33 deaths in the world, billions of people. I mean, although tragic, not really like that big of a number. Wash your fruit, folks. And
who's watching cantaloupe though? That's like, I feel like
no,
that's
but
the
that's
similar
the thing. It's
thing
the
to like
avocados.
Thing.
So how I found out that I was allergic to mangoes was who washes a mango? Probably most people. Do. I don't.
Because it's a different type of skin. It depends on the skin. If the skin is like hard, like an avocado or a cantaloupe,
you don't wash it?
Don't wash it because I'm not eating the skin.
But you're not eating the skin of a mango either. You don't eat a mango skin?
But it's when you cut into it.
Yes. So this is the problem. I have had mangoes since I was a child, since I could eat solid foods. Love mangoes, favorite fruit, would eat it all the time. One day we have mangoes and I'm like, this sounds good. I'm going to have a mango. Cut it like I normally do. I mean, I like wiped it off, but I just never figured to wash it. I don't know why I didn't think that. So I eat the mango. Normally, how you eat the mango, you slice it and you like put the whole thing in your mouth and you scrape it off with your teeth. We don't do the knife thing. You just like get in there and then you have the seed and you just like kind of gnaw it off the seed.
Yeah.
That's how I always done it.
Okay.
Next morning I wake up and I was like, and for a while my mouth would get a little itchy when I would have mangoes. So I knew that I was developing a slight allergy, but I was like, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I would just get like a little rash and it would go away in a couple days.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. The yumminess of this mango
it outweighed the little
mouth rash.
Next morning I wake up and I was like, felt like I couldn't open my eyes. I turn over to Cameron and I was like, I feel like something's wrong. And he turns around and he's like, whoa. I had a rash all over my face. My eyes were like swollen shut. My rash on my mouth was very much worse than it had normally been from the mango.
Gross.
So I go to the doctor and he's like, what did you have? And I was like, like trying to play it off. And I'm like, well, mango. And I know that I have a slight allergy because I would get like a rash on my mouth. And he's like, you can't have that anymore. And so apparently it's like the sap.
Oh, yeah.
That is essentially on the skin. So if I just would have washed it, I probably would have just had the light rash on my mouth and it would have been fine. But as you cut the fruit, which is the problem with the avocados and the cantaloupes, if it's on the skin and you cut it, the knife is essentially, like you were saying before, cutting the lemons, you're transferring everything into the inside of the fruit. And it was enough to let my body know that I shouldn't have it anymore. So, hence, although you would never think to wash a cantaloupe.
Yeah. I mean, my logic is faulty. I'll admit it now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Wash your fruit.
Please wash your fruit.
Don't
even
scratch
the
your
ones with the
butthole.
hard skins. Please don't touch it. If you have to touch your anus, wash your hands. Please.
Or
Let's make a shirt that says if you have to touch your anus, wash your
If you touch your anus, it's a little wordy.
Don't go from your anus straight to your eyes either. Bad news.
Or
bears.
like shake someone's hand or
come on.
Handle the
That's
dinner
just
meats.
rude.
Yeah. So I hope you've learned a lot in this episode. And now we're going to go on to, I feel like this is a weird stepping point.
A little bit. So I'm a really big fan of like trying different, like, especially like hot Cheetos because they always make like 50 million different versions of the hot Cheeto. They basically just put the hot Cheeto dust on basically anything. Yeah. And if they do, I will literally eat it. Put it on a shoe. I will eat that hot Cheeto.
Put it on the cantaloupe. Would you eat it on a cantaloupe?
No, that's too far. No. Shoe, yes. Cantaloupe, no.
We have drawn the line.
You can't mix those two. I'm very weird about sweet and... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell you all my deal. But anyways, I was like... What kind of bridged me to this idea was I know some people can't handle spicy foods. So I went to the CVS and I went down the aisle and I chose a few different spicy type foods or like, snacky snacks that I was like, I've never tried these. This looks really interesting because I love just trying different spicy.
We like snacks.
Snacky snacks. So we're going to have a little spicy taste test.
And hopefully nothing has E. coli or salmonella. I feel like we're safe.
No, they're chips.
Because they're chips and it's like just full of toxic chemicals.
Yeah,
so
it's
we'll
fine.
be fine.
Get
But
out of here. No raw chicken.
we have no raw chicken, but I have wet wipes because now I'm just paranoid. And now before anything goes
I
in
swear
your
I
mouth,
didn't touch my anus, but I will still sanitize.
Listen. I believe you, but you never know.
What do you think I'm doing in your home?
I don't know. I don't know what you were doing before you came out here.
I hate
Okay.
you.
I love you. I'm just kidding. She doesn't scratch your butt. That's gross. We're ladies.
Yeah,
We're civilized ladies.
we're women's. We don't do that.
We don't do that.
Well, you don't poop or fart either.
No.
No, shut up.
Poop.
We don't do
fart.
that.
Scratch your butt. Okay.
Get out of here.
Give it to me. What are we starting with?
Okay. I'm busy.
She's getting in there. Also, wet wipes are very nice to have on hand.
But also don't over sanitize because that can also really create an issue.
Some bacteria you have to
some
build
bacteria
up,
you have to build up. So
your
don't
immune system.
over.
But before you put stuff in your mouth, maybe just wash your hands.
After you touch it.
After you touch your anus, especially.
Pringles.
Scorchin'.
Cheddar. Once you pop, you can't stop. That's the thing, right?
That's what they say. I've never tried this. Well, no, I lied. I said that earlier, but I have tried the Scorchin' brand.
Yeah, because I went into your home
I know there was some
and
in
Mama brought out Scorchin' barbecue, and I was like, hey, I have two
But
others.
I feel like I didn't like them. But it wasn't this one. Some ASMR. Ooh, that's spicy.
Ooh.
I thought it was going to be... That's spicy. I like spicy, and that's hot.
That's good.
Naturally and artificially flavored.
Two things I like. Mm-hmm. Big fan.
I like that. That just tastes like a very...
I feel like it has a good balance of the spicy and the cheddar kind of taste.
You still taste the
They
cheese?
kind of I taste a little bit of both.
That is a fire pepper. I think that's good. You want another one or you want to...
I want to move to the next
Okay.
one. Once more, like I said, once you pop, you can't stop, and you try multiples.
I like
this
that.
is Scorchin' Wavy loaded nachos.
I was going to give it a score, but I'll wait till I try that one so I can score this one.
Oh gosh, I really like the chips and stuff.
I like the wavy.
Where they put, where it's like a full meal. It's like you're gonna taste it in this one Pringle, and you're just
Nachos.
And it freaks my brain out because I'm like, this tastes like this, but
This
it's
doesn't have
one
a-
single.
This doesn't have a lot
This
of
has no.
spicy on it.
It
This
has
one is
nothing.
What is-
Look.
let's show this one.
That's a light. That's being out in the sun for like.
Oh, this
5
one.
seconds.
Oh no, that's pretty. I can't tell with the light, but that looks.
It just
that has
look
way
like
more.
It has much flavor.
Tastes definitely like a nacho.
It does. It has all this. It has the symphony of a loaded nacho. Oh, this is warm. This one's spicier, I think.
You think? I don't feel like I taste
It's like
it at
a
all.
really hot,
Oh, it takes a
queso.
second.
a really nice hot queso.
It's spicy. I like this one better though.
I like the nacho.
I give this a 6 out of 10. I give this an 8 out of 10.
I swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the loaded nacho. It's kind of because the queso kind of taste is coming through.
It just tastes like a jalapeno queso.
Yeah,
We
which
like
I
it.
like.
I think this one is spicier though. You think this one's spicier?
I think they're pretty much the same level.
I would say we should have milk to cleanse our palate, but you can also get what can you get from milk?
Yeah,
You can get E.
I'm not
coli.
doing that. Get out of here. Extra flamin' hot. It says it's twice as hot.
Didn't we try some flamin' hot something for Valentine's?
I think so. I don't remember if it's these. I feel like I have had these before. I feel like it's not.
We did an event recently where Angel brought.
Oh my God, Angel changed my whole life. I don't remember what they're called, but I have a bag at home and they're very good. I should have brought those. These don't taste hotter.
These are hotter than this,
Yeah.
but this is good.
These are
This
good.
is honestly, it just looks like a flamin' hot Cheeto with extra powder on it.
Yeah. So maybe they just like doubled the.
They double extra to the
Yeah.
powder. This is still my favorite so far. Oh, that's got a little kick. I also feel like I'm
Yeah.
getting the remnants of the...
It's really caked on there.
I mean, I would say like that better than the regular Flamin' Hots.
One more? You said you tried this. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
So I have tried this one, but I first tried, oh my God.
Oh, Leanna's dying. Chester's puff corn. So it's not popcorn.
Oh, it's
like a puff. Do you want tea?
I do this very often.
Oh no, she's dying. For those listening.
It's the dust. I do this thing where when I eat, like a big old dummy, I'll breathe in. So like the little particles will hit the back of my throat and I'm like, ask Cameron. It happens like once a day, every other day. It's a common thing. So I've tried these. I tried the butter ones first. And then I tried these ones, and it's like
these
like a
are
Cheetos puff.
Weird. It's like
it's like a Cheetos puff, but made to look like a popcorn.
It literally looks like a popcorn, but nice. As a puff.
It's like a melty texture.
It's like pirate's booty, but
yeah, like if you put it on your tongue.
That's so weird.
It's kind of like eating
these
foam.
Are good. Yeah, it's like the packing peanuts in the Lush.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
You technically can eat those.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, because they're, and also like when you get rid of those, you're supposed to just like put water on it because they just dissolve.
I'm like, you can eat the packing peanuts?
In the Lush products, not if you get something from Amazon and it has packing peanuts, don't eat those ones. But the ones in the Lush stuff.
This is fun. Can. This is like a fun texture.
This is weird. So weird.
I'll have them.
Oh my God.
It totally, that's what it feels like. The other ones that I tried before this are just like butter flavor. So they essentially taste like popcorn, but they're foamy instead of crunchy like popcorn. Okay, I'm going to say this is my favorite. This is my second favorite because it's a weird texture, but it's still got the Flamin' Hot Cheeto, and they're all pretty spicy. This is still pretty spicy to me. But I also can't tell if that's because we've just eaten
I mean, we had the extra spicy before this, so like I feel like this is like nothing compared to that because I had that before this. We probably should have ramped up.
Yeah, we probably should have mixed it up. But listen,
I'm a hot Cheeto host, so I feel like these two are top, and then it's the loaded nachos, and then it's cheddar.
I just like the fake cheddar with the spice. These are still the spiciest to me. If you guys have any fun snacks that are extreme. Well, I don't know about extreme.
Oh, we need to do that one chip challenge.
Nope, not doing that.
What?
No, the one ghost pepper chip where people like their faces start melting off because it's so hot.
You just have a tiny little bit.
That sounds because like it's like one bag is like $20 or something crazy for one chip, and then to like purposely melt my mouth. No, thank you.
You're no fun.
I'll get it and you could try it.
Oh, I'm not gonna be the only one dying.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, maybe.
Okay, enough likes on this. Leanna will eat the whole chip.
I do not agree to that.
On camera.
So yeah, if you guys have any obscure snacks, doesn't have to be spicy, but maybe something.
No, I love snacky snacks. I want to know all the snacky snacks.
Just not bugs.
Yeah, get out of here with your bugs, Leanna. I swear to you. Okay, that's where I draw the line on the hot Cheeto. I will not.
You won't eat a cricket
I won't
and
eat
hot
a
Cheeto test?
If Flamin' Hot came out with crickets,
why
I'm
not?
sorry.
You wouldn't even taste you've had it before. Didn't you eat it?
Yeah, I'm so mad about it.
That's where the trauma from What's in the Coffin and Creepy Treats all started.
Yeah.
Was me giving you
never again
crickets. But I feel like I need to do Flamin' Hot crickets.
I'm not gonna.
It's happening. I don't know how. Can you buy the dust? Can I buy the hot Cheeto dust?
No.
I'm sure that comes in a shaker somewhere, right?
In the bag with him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to eat it.
We're doing it. Next time.
Make it. I'm not going to eat
Flamin' Hot crickets. I'm not going to tell you.
I think my eyes will know a cricket when I see it.
I mean, it'll be a blindfold challenge. Tell me what you're eating.
I'm never blindfolding with you ever again.
So that'll do it for this episode. Is what I get of Let's Get Spooky. Always remember to wash your hands,
Please,
your fruit.
Wash your hands.
Cook your meat.
Stop going anus to something else. Wash your hands.
Touch your butt. Thanks for joining us, Fiends, and don't forget to
stay spooky.
Don't scratch your butt.
Don't.